water en toegang tot elektrisiteit. Ek het in 'n sinkhuis gewoon. Ek het nou toegang tot 'n RDP-huis. Load shedding is nie die einde van die aarde nie. En ek, president, is een van die mense wat voel, sodra jy van load shedding praat, dan begin hulle om jou te saboteer. Ons sal moet iets doen aan daai sabotasie.
So ANC is telling South Africans that load shedding is not the end of the world. Load shedding is not the end of the world. You see, today in South Africa, we have a lot of young people that are starting up their own businesses because there are no jobs in South Africa. So young people are coming up with alternatives to survive. So they are setting up their businesses. And most of the time, these businesses end up failing due to load shedding. When you see those young people that are drowning in debt today because of those businesses, when you see them, tell them to go back to the unemployment line, because load shedding is not the end of the world. Load shedding is not the end of the world. When you see the families of the people that were slaughtered in the streets because it is dark and the criminals are taking advantage of the fact that it is dark, go to those families and tell those people that load shedding is not the end of the world. The families of the security guards and other people that are working at odd hours, we know that these people are always targeted in the streets of this country, whether they go to work or they come back from work. Go to those families and tell those people that load shedding is not the end of the world. When you see the mothers who had to bury their newborn babies because there's no oxygen due to load shedding, tell those mothers that load shedding is not the end of the world. When you see the mothers who had to bury their newborn babies due to the fact that there is no oxygen because of load shedding, tell those mothers that load shedding is not the end of the world. This is what the African National Congress is telling South Africans. This is what the African National Congress is telling South Africans. You know, yesterday when someone flagged this video to me, man, I wanted to jump on the platform and react to this video. But honestly, I didn't know what to say, because I feel like at this point, there is nothing more for us to say about these people. There is nothing more political parties can say about the African National Congress. There is nothing we can say about the African National Congress. Everyone in the country today understands who the African National Congress is. The African National Congress told us who they are. The African National Congress showed us who they are. We have 30 years of their track record. We know who these people are. I think right now, as South Africans, for us to move forward, we really have to shift the conversation and focus on these people who keep voting for the African National Congress, despite everything these people are doing. There is nothing for us to say about these people anymore, man, whether you like it or not. When we talk about the African National Congress, everything that you're going to hear someone say about the ANC, it is something that you've heard before. So it is just a repetition, because there is nothing more that we can say about these people. These people are terrible people. These people are horrible. They showed us that they are horrible. We know that these people are horrible. So there is nothing for us to say anymore. I feel like South Africans right now have themselves to blame. Majority of the people in this country who are black people, man, have themselves to blame for where the country is today. Because I think even the African National Congress doesn't understand why do people keep voting for them despite everything they are doing in the country. The African National Congress does not understand. How come? How is it possible for South Africans to still love them despite everything they are doing? They don't understand it themselves. I don't understand it. Many people in the country, they don't understand how is it possible that African National Congress still enjoys a majority of the support of the people in the country, despite everything these people have done. I think this is one issue that makes African National Congress rogue. The African National Congress understands one thing about South Africans, that South Africans will never hold us accountable for anything. South Africans will never hold us accountable for anything. The people on the news, they can say how bad the ANC is. Political parties can tell you how bad the ANC is. People on YouTube and other social media platforms, they can tell you how bad the African National Congress is. But when the ANC goes on the grassroots, the people that are the victims of this governance of African National Congress are welcoming them with open arms. This is why Ramaphosa, deep down in his heart, he believes that the African National Congress is doing an amazing job, because whenever they go to the grassroots, the people welcome them with open arms. You will never see people protesting and saying, President, we know that you come to visit us, but we are going to let you know that things are not good here. Our children are not working. Our townships are illegal dumpings everywhere. It is a mess. The way we live, we don't like how we live. You would think that the people would actually protest the African National Congress. If anything, when Ramaphosa is coming, people will be jumping, kissing each other, dancing, and doing all sorts of things because the president is coming. People will never take that advantage as an opportunity to show the president that, man, we are not happy about your work and your administration. We are not happy about the work of the African National Congress. This is why the African National Congress has the audacity to release statements after statement, ridiculous statements, and outrageous statements after statements. Fikile Mbalula came out and said that we lied to you guys about President Zuma. We knew his presidency was a catastrophe, but we lied to you. There were no consequences for that. President Ramaphosa came out and said that if people do not vote for the African National Congress, they are going to lose their social grants. I mean, like, this is one statement that was supposed to make sure that the African National Congress loses the election. If we lived in a sane country, young people in this country would stand up and say, President, you are not going to blackmail us with 350s. You are not going to blackmail us with 350s. Okay, it is fine. We accept these 350s that we are getting, but we believe that our lives are worth more. We believe that we need real jobs. We need real jobs so that we can contribute in the households. No. This is what you would think people in a sane country would do. But this is not a sane country. South Africa, it is not a sane country. Young people actually allowed President Ramaphosa to blackmail them with the SASSA grants. They allowed Ramaphosa to blackmail them with the SASSA grants. Now they are coming out and saying that load shedding is not the end of the world. Man, I am not surprised. This is what these people are saying. I'm not surprised that this is what these people are saying, man. I mean, like, at this point, there is nothing that is going to surprise me about the African National Congress. There's nothing that is going to surprise me about these people, man. There is absolutely nothing. ANC understands that the people of this country are not ready to hold the party accountable. They understand that, man, despite everything we've done to these people, man, majority of the people in this country, they still favor the African National Congress. You know, the people of this country, man, are something else. The people of this country are something else, man. They are saying that they don't want to hear anything that opposition parties has to say because opposition parties are saying the same thing over and over again, man. You see, this is how people actually perceive opposition parties. They say, man, these people are saying the same thing over and over again. How about they bring us the solutions? No, the opposition parties will go back to the drawing board. They will come back to the people and say, guys, this is how we are going to improve your lives. And the people will say, rather the devil we know than the devil we don't know. Rather the devil we know than the devil we don't know. So I think the problem that we are having as South Africans today, it is these people who keep voting for the African National Congress because these are the people that are destroying the country. These are the people that are destroying the country, man. The ANC has already let us know who they are. The ANC has already showed us who they are. The problem that we are having in South Africa are these people who keep voting for the African National Congress. This is where the problem is in South Africa today.
I want to make a direct quote to you, and here goes, Professor. Load shedding is not the end of the world. These were the words of Sylvia Lucas, who sits on the benches of the ANC. How do you think that statement will land with South Africans tonight?
Well, that's a lived experience for, I would say, almost all South Africans. It is something which is not only a few incidents. It's not something which happens now and then. At the moment we are at stage.
And guys, you know what is worse is that these members of parliament, they have alternatives. If you know, average South Africans, when it's load shedding, they're going to have to wait for Eskom to bring back the lights. But these members of parliament, they don't have to wait for Eskom. They have alternatives. And guess what? You are paying for that. You are paying for that, and for them to have the audacity, man, for this woman to stand in front of the nation, in front of the president, and tell South Africans that load shedding is not the end of the world. For the president to sit there clapping hands for this woman when she's telling South Africans that load shedding is not the end of the world. This woman, the president, they understand the consequences of load shedding. They understand the consequences of load shedding. So how can the president sit there and clap hands when this woman is telling South Africans that load shedding is not the end of the world? Man, this tells you everything that you need to know about the African National Congress. It tells you everything that you need to know about these people.
Six again. So this is something which has become so ingrained in the South African logic or the South African mind at the moment. And together with that, it is linked to the notion of state capture. It is linked to the period of President Zuma, and since then. And I think for that on its own is possibly the single most important issue that will determine what the ANC's future is going to be. This is something which is not that some people have good education, other bad education. Some have good health services and other not so good health services. This is across the board. It doesn't discriminate against anyone, especially in the beginning. Now we have the new renewable energy that's already starting to come in. But this, in my view, this is the one single most important issue on which the ANC will be judged.
Well,
and when you, the ANC cadres, man, you see when it comes to this whole thing of ESCOM, the ANC cadres, they are just making the statements about ESCOM. The ANC cadres, they are just making statements about ESCOM, man. There is no evidence that ANC wants to fix load shedding. There is no evidence that these people are serious about fixing ESCOM. So, I am not surprised. I'm not surprised. I'm just laughing at the people that are outraged, that are outraged today for this woman saying that load shedding is not the end of the world. Guys, as South Africans, we need to start having conversations, man. We need to start having conversations as South Africans, man, because we can have 1 million political parties, but as long as we have people who don't want to use their brains, we will always end up at the same position. We can have million political parties. As we speak today, we have 350 political parties, but people are still saying rather the devil you know than the devil you don't know. Rather the devil you know than the devil you don't know. So me personally, guys, I am not surprised. This is how the African National Congress feels. I know the African National Congress hates the people of this country. The African National Congress does not serve anyone. They don't serve white people. They don't serve the Indians. They don't serve the Muslims. They don't serve black people. They don't serve the colors. The African National Congress only serves the African National Congress. And they are sick and tired of you people wanting to hold them accountable for load shedding. You people need to understand that load shedding, it is not the end of the world. Stop complaining about load shedding. Stop telling us that you have lost millions and millions of rands because of load shedding. Stop telling us that your businesses have failed because of load shedding. Don't tell us that you have lost a loved one because there was no oxygen due to load shedding. Stop telling us all of those things. Understand that load shedding, it is not the end of the world. Understand that load shedding is not the end of the world. This is the only thing that you need to understand.
If you say it like that, Professor, it leads to a secondary question, and that is that, do you think that Ms. Lucas paid attention to what she was saying?
Of course, man. You see the news. Already trying to provide cover for her. Already trying to provide cover for her, man. And some people blame us when we say that the mainstream news works with African National Congress, and people say that, nah, you are taking it too far. Now you are trying to provide cover for her.
I think that Ms. Lucas paid attention to what she was saying. Was this a statement that is sensitive to how South Africans are feeling about load shedding right now? And is this statement the one to endear the ANC-led government as they go and ask the people of South Africa for yet another term in government?
Man, come on, Xoli, man. This woman knew exactly what she was saying. Like I say, man, the ANC is tired of people complaining about load shedding. The African National Congress is sick and tired of people complaining about load shedding, people complaining about the lack of infrastructure, people complaining about the lack of employment, man. These people are sick and tired. The African National Congress simply wants to go to parliament, enjoy the perks there, draw a fat salary, and continue living their lives. They don't want to work for you. They don't want to work for anybody else. These people, man, only work for themselves. So this is exactly what they want. This is what they want. So guys, please tell me what you think on the comment section. Do you think that load shedding is not the end of the world? Guys, please tell me what you think on the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button. And the most important part is subscribe. My name is Thomas Mabaso. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.